stop right there and just watch this.
What do you got, LaMelo? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! He's fouled and will go to the line, all because of that fancy dribbling.
That right there is a 6'7" point guard capable of handling the ball almost better than everyone else in the NBA. And it would be one thing if LaMelo Ball was just a good ball handler, but he's also a great passer, a great shooter. Oh, and above all, he might be the most entertaining player in the entire NBA.
Hey, I feel blessed. Oh.
Okay, I wasn't really talking about that, but that is also the entertainment LaMelo can bring. However, there are much more important things to focus on with LaMelo Ball, like what he is doing on the court, because after struggling through injuries the last few years, a lot of people forgot just how good, just how great he is. And 8 games into this season, he's reminding the entire world, with averages of 28 points and 6 assists on career best efficiency. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I do not care how many games the Charlotte Hornets end up winning. Well, I do a bit because I want to see LaMelo in the playoffs, but regardless of their record, that will not change the fact that LaMelo Ball is a special player and he is must-watch TV, or however else you watch NBA, every single time he steps foot on the floor.
Final minute of our first half. LaMelo! Ball back into the ballgame. LaMelo's had a night and a half. What's new? Oh my goodness! The kid's a baller!
I mean, just look at this play from against the Celtics, where he crosses up Peyton Pritchard, driving into the paint before throwing a wraparound pass, relocating to the corner, and without having set himself, he knocks down the 3 whilst practically falling into the Celtics bench, or any number of the heat checks he's already had to start the season. Because we're less than 10 games into the year, and we've already seen about 6 or 7 different heat checks from LaMelo, and the most recent one came at the worst possible time for Detroit, because with him struggling through 3 quarters against the Pistons the other night, he decided to turn it on in the 4th quarter, going off for 15 of his 25 points in that quarter. I mean, just look at this play where he gets the screen to get off Beasley, goes behind the back, but then crosses back to avoid Beasley, and then has the touch to float it in. It's just nasty. And of course, he was going to drop in some threes as well. But it was this play that really stood out from that game. With a minute remaining and the Hornets down by 2, the Hornets set the screen to get LaMelo switched onto Isaiah Stewart. And what you'll notice with LaMelo's 3-point shooting, which is quite unique, is he enjoys taking threes off balance. LaMelo will get the ball near the middle of the floor, and he will shuffle his feet side to side and take an off-balance 3 with one leg in the air, which if you were to see for the first time, you might think it's a fluke. But then he does it again, and again, and again, and you realize, oh no, LaMelo Ball is just one of the best shooters in the NBA, and can make threes that almost no one else would attempt, let alone shoot at nearly 40%. And when I say he's one of the best shooters in the NBA, well, not only is he shooting just under 40% on nearly 12 attempts per game this season, but since his 2nd year in the league, he is 5th in 3-pointers made per game, only behind Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, and, well, those 2 guys who I've heard are pretty good shooters. But the craziest part about his shooting so far this season is the fact he's making 48% of his pull-up threes. You heard that right. Just to put this into perspective, in 2016, when Steph Curry had one of the greatest seasons ever, he made 44% on less volume. Now, unless LaMelo plans on being quite literally the greatest pull-up put-up shooter ever, I expect some regression. But with his size, handle, and ability to create separation, plus the fact he can hit shots whilst off balance, I don't know if a bad pull-up 3 exists for him, because he's made those bad shots routine. And you know what's quite sad about what LaMelo Ball is doing right now? The NBA media spent so much time talking about LeVar, Lonzo, LiAngelo, and LaMelo before they had even entered the NBA, often laughing at LeVar for having such high expectations. I mean, just look at the views on these videos from 7 years ago, and even over the last few years talking about LaMelo in his early seasons as a player. Well, now that LaMelo is 23 years old and reaching the prime of his career, he looks like one of the best players in the NBA. He's undoubtedly one of the most entertaining players as a 6'7" guard who takes pull-up threes like Damian Lillard whilst having elite court vision and handling the ball like he's in a video game, but now all of a sudden, ESPN and co aren't interested. Not only are they missing out on a lot of fans, but they're doing a disservice to NBA fans who aren't LaMelo Ball fans, because he should be discussed in the same way Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum and Jalen Brunson have been discussed over the last year, because he's not just an elite player, his play style is just incredible to watch, because I haven't even mentioned his playmaking. Remember when that was the most hyped aspect of his game? Entering the league, everyone knew he was an elite passer. The questions were over his shooting and scoring. Well, those questions feel a very, very long time ago, but with how great he's been as a scorer and shooter, it's easy to forget he still makes some jaw-dropping plays as a passer. Just look at him here getting the screen from Green to get White on his back, and he goes between his legs before going behind his back and throwing the over-the-shoulder pass to Green for a wide-open 3. He's also particularly lethal in transition, with his ability to push the pace and then use his eyes to deceive a defense that isn't quite set up to defend whatever he's planning on doing, like on this play where Nick Richards is running the floor, and LaMelo looks off the defense before throwing a left-handed dart right past Tyler Hero's ear for the easy layup. Now, despite playing like a superstar to start the year, like most players in the NBA, LaMelo isn't perfect, and whilst he's been absolutely incredible on offense, there have been a few more turnovers than you would like. Some people might question his shot selection, but who am I to question it if it is working like it is right now? But his biggest problem still remains on the defensive side of the floor. I mean, when your coach is publicly saying this, it's not great. We have to continue to challenge him, and we have to learn about, can he guard one-on-one? Or do we need to send a double every time? Or are you going to foul? Yeah, not great. But he's not the only offensive superstar that has problems defending. In fact, it's much more common to be a poor defender than a good defender when you are this talented offensively. If anything, this just tells me that he's willing to take that level of criticism, because a coach would only say that publicly if he knew his star player wouldn't be offended by it. And it shouldn't be much of a surprise considering LaMelo has been in the spotlight since he was a child, but the defense is a real thing. LaMelo is unbelievable offensively, and clearly his coach has trust in him to allow him to take whatever kind of shots or make whatever kind of passes he wants, which is fair enough when you look at the rest of that starting lineup, but LaMelo has to reward that faith in his offensive game by being better on the defensive end of the floor, because there's no reason someone at 6'7" with his basketball IQ and instincts can't at least be serviceable on that end. I mean, they're completely different players, but we've seen Lonzo Ball be one of the best defenders at his position when healthy. Let me stress, they're different players, but the gap shouldn't be that wide defensively. Now, regardless, if you are not watching LaMelo Ball playing night in, night out, you're missing out. Now, if you don't have a chance to do that, you can always subscribe to this channel and I'll keep you up to date with all of those things. Dropping a like would be much appreciated. Most importantly, have a great day.